Hi guys, I was just seeing I had a rooster tail. See it up there? My hair's at that in between growing it out and getting it past the shortcut activity and the regular. So the wave is coming back and it has a mind of its own. So we're just not going to worry about it. I have a lot of congestion due to allergies, and I did take an allergy tablet, but it doesn't always stop everything. So sip of tea. Morning, Pam. So I got my little strawberry bag that I had crocheted, and it had wooden handles on it, and I didn't like them. And plus, when I filled the bag, it would stretch out. So I removed the wooden handles, and I used some of the green webbing that I bought at the thrift store not long ago. And since it looked like a strawberry, I lined it with strawberries, if you remember, not too long ago. And the fabric stabilizes the crochet so it doesn't stretch out of shape. That's my biggest pet peeve about crocheted bags is if they're not lined with fabric, they do stretch out. But you add a little fabric liner and then they're stable. And I just love this for these small projects. So I made a gray dishcloth yesterday with the yarn that Scott had gotten at the thrift store. And this was yesterday's dishcloth. And what I do is I'll make 3 dishcloths over 3 days. And then I'll take a bit of the yarn and I'll tie the 3 together. Excuse me. And that's a gift for my gift tote, which I gave away 2 sets to my sister and her daughter. My sister had a birthday in February, and my niece's birthday is the day before my birthday. So when we went to the birthday luncheon earlier this month, I went ahead and took them their birthday gift. So every time we get together, it seems like it's for a birthday, and we're just kind of handing gifts across the table. So yeah. So hi, Pam and Linda. That's who's here. So I'm going to make another dishcloth. I don't really have anything that goes really well with the gray. I'm going to set my little strawberry bag aside. That's the perfect size bag for this project to tote along. I have this huge skein, which I'm not sure where I got it from, but this is the Bernay Handicrafter Cotton in this great big skein in the color, I don't know, cornflower. And I thought the cornflower and the gray looked kind of pretty together. So we're going to do a round dishcloth with a gray center. So we'll start with the gray. And I've got a size J hook. Can't tell you what that is in millimeters because I don't have my little cheat sheet in front of me. And I like to work from the center of the balls out. Tippy, you need to decide what you're going to do. So I start with a magic ring, but I wrap twice because I learned this from another YouTuber that when you go twice, it creates a very stable center. And once you pull it tight, it will stay because it's done twice. So I just hold this string between these 2 fingers and my thumb like this. And then I just wrap it around and I go behind it. So this one will go behind that one. And then I wrap around again and it goes all the way to the back. So they're lined up. So this was the first wrap, second wrap, third wrap. And then I just take my hook and I go under the first 2, grab the third one and give it a twist. And then I let go of this, but hold on to it here. And then I do a chain 1. All right. And then I'm going to do 8 single crochets into the magic loop. So the loop is formed right here. You see where it's open? I'm going to stick my hook in the loop, see, and grab up over that edge and there's 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, There's 6, 7, and 8. All right, I'm going to adjust you guys a little and point it down, because holding my arms up in the air is not going to work for very long. So I think that's a good shot of my hand. All right, so now I can drop this free. And what I do, don't immediately just pull because we've wrapped twice. What you do is you pull it to see which loop is going to come first. All right, so I know this is the bigger loop. So I need to then come in to the loop that was going smaller when I pulled the tail, and go ahead and pull it first. So that third loop gets tightened first. And then you can go back to your tail and just draw this up, and bam, both loops are gone, and you have a tail that you can hide. And I could have made my tail, shorter when I started. I'm going to go into my first single crochet, and you could just work in the round where you go around and around and just mark your first one. But I really like the way the chain one looks. I guess I'm a weirdo. So I'm going to slip stitch into the first one and then chain one. And then I'm going to put 2 single crochets in every single stitch. And I got to lose the sweater because, wow, it's getting warm in here. Oh. Get that sweater off. Woo! All right, so I'm going to put 2 single crochets in every stitch, starting with the one I slip stitched in. 1, 2. So when you get back around, you'll have 16 stitches. So am I back? Warning, your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. All right. Okay, am I back? I don't know why my connection should be unstable, but apparently it is. So we'll see if this continues to fail. If you guys will let me know if I'm here. But I was saying when I noticed it clipped off that each time you go around and you change your addition, all you're doing is adding 8 additional stitches. So this round, we're doing 2 in each one. So we'll have 8 plus 8 is 16. So I need to just work my way around with the 2 single crochets in each one. It's 1, 2, yeah. But Scott is off. A friend of ours that he built a power supply for years ago for his machine shop. His son took over the business, and his son has a friend that recently bought a machining tool, and it worked when they went to look at it, but then once they got it back to his shop, it stopped working. So Scott is going, even though he's not a industrial machine repairman, Scott can basically fix anything. And Mr. Mike, the original owner of the original business, he knows Scott can fix just about anything. So Scott's on his way to try to fix a piece of machining equipment. So we'll see how that goes. And I just didn't want to tag along today. All right, so we're back at the beginning. You should have 16. Feel free to stop and count if you want. Now to recognize, I've got this little loop here. That's your slip stitch. This little loop over here, that's your chain. So the actual stitch is right here. And you can look and you'll see a V here, and there's a V here. And then you'll see that the chain, the top of the stitches, they form V's. So you know that this is your second stitch. So this is your first stitch. So basically there's 2 loops here that are your slip stitch and your chain 1. So the first stitch you want to work in is right there. And I wanted to explain that because not everybody can recognize their first stitch. So again, I'm going to slip stitch into the first one and chain 1. Now I'm going to switch it up because don't be afraid once you've made some, if you wanted to continue with just single crochets around and around and around, feel free, you can. But I'm going to switch to a half double crochet. So that's yarn over, put your hook in to the stitch you're working in, you draw up a loop, and then you pull through all the loops on the hook. So I'm going to do 2 of those in this one. And then this next stitch, you do just 1. And then the next stitch, you do 2. And so when you get to the end of this one by doing 2 and then 1 around, you'll have 24 stitches. Because 16 plus 8 is 24. Maybe if I pull this over here, it would quit coming across the screen. And I still got the tail from the beginning. I'm just utilizing it. So I've done 2 there, 1, 2. So this needed to have 2 in it. So that's why I popped in today. Well, it says I'm losing people, so maybe I'm not live. Let me check the chat and see if it's still working, because it's not moving. Okay, the chat's still working. Just trying to see if I'm live. The chat is working, but I'm not sure I'm live anymore. Am I still live? Do I need to stop and come back? I'm confused. Can you guys see me? Okay, thanks, Linda. I just needed to know because everything seemed to stop and okay. All right, good. So yeah, I could have took this with me and crocheted in the car, but I didn't feel like doing that. So there's 2, there's 1, there's 2. Worrying about whether I'm live is messing me up. And what I do is for my centers, I just keep working until I've got 3 singles in between my doubles of increases, and then I'll switch to my other color. Hopefully soon I'll have this tail all hidden and it will quit being so awkward. All right, so this is my last 2 single crochets, and then we do a single crochet on its own in this last stitch. And again, you'll see that there is a loop right here, but that's your slip stitch. And then the loop that's on the side, that's your chain 1. So the stitch I need to slip stitch in is right there. I know a lot of new crocheters have trouble seeing that, but I just wanted to note that that's what you're looking for. All right, I still have a little bit of this tail tagging around, so I really did keep it too long of a tail. So slip stitch, chain 1, start with 2 in this first one, and I'm going to keep going with my half doubles. All right, so there's 2, but now because we're on this row, you're going to do the 2 in the first one, and then a single in this one, a single in this one, and then 2 in that one. And that's how you get a nice even distribution of your increases. And now I go back to 2 in this one. Hi, Kelly Lang. Welcome. So I'm doing half doubles now. I think in UK they call them half trebles. All right, so I did 2 and then 2 singles. Now we do 2 in here. And then we'll do 2 more of half double crochets. I said 2 more singles, but I meant single stitches. And then 2 in this one. And then 2 here. 1, 2, then 2 that are just 1 stitch in each here. So there's 1, 2. And I've done stitch alongs like this before to get the start of a hat, a start of a hat, a start of a bowl, a start of a doily, anything like that, all starts about the same. This yarn splits so easy in my hook. So now we're down to our last repeat of 2 in here. 1, 2, and then 2, 1, 2. And you're in the last stitch. Again, skip that loop, skip that loop. This is your first double crochet or half double crochet. So we're going to slip stitch into it and chain 1. And then we're going to do 2 in this one. 1, 2. And then we'll put a single stitch in the next 3. And it can be any stitch. Any stitch. So you could do single crochets, half double crochets, whatever you choose in your round if you start with it at the beginning. But I was trying to work this up quicker by switching to half doubles. All right, so I've got my 2 in here. So now this is the row where we're going to end the single, the gray. So this row is our last gray row. So, I just choose the row where there's 3 in between the 2 work together. So I've got 2 stitches here. So this stitch, 1, 2, 3, I'll put just 1 half double crochet in each of those. And then this repeat goes around. So it's 2 stitches here and then a 1 in there, 2, 3, and so on. And then at the end, don't finish out your last stitch. Wait for me on the last one. If you're working along and you're a really fast crocheter, faster than me, I'll be there in a minute. So that was, there's 2 there, 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to put 2 here. Oops. And I'm working just into the top of the stitches. You can change this up. You don't always have to do the stitches in the same manner either. If you want to get creative and you know other stitches, feel free to use them. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything if you're just changing the stitch. Now, if you wanted to switch, which we're going to a shell makeup or a V-stitch, you have to take into account the stitches you're going to skip to create the other stitches. And I'll show you what I mean about that. So I've got, let's see, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. I'm probably talking too much. I'll try not to say too much. Back to doing 2 in this one. Whoops. I really should be emptying the dishwasher and cleaning up the kitchen from breakfast, but I'd rather crochet right now, and those dishes aren't going to go anywhere without me. we put our new rug down, and I did a little video and I posted on Instagram and Facebook, and I really am loving that rug from overstock.com. Not promoted, not featured, it's not a promo, except that that's who I got it from. And the rug and the anti-slip mat was less than $200. And I think it's a beautiful rug. So we're back to doing our repeat. 2 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, and then do 2 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, and then last repeat. So 2 in this one, 2, and then 1, 2, and now I'm in the last stitch. So I'm going to start the half double like I normally would, but I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to bring this thread over here and just lay it down. And I'm going to grab my cornflower blue and lay it down here. And I'm going to draw this cornflower through all 3 stitches, and I've changed color. And I'm going to snip this. And I'm just going to single tie these together. Let me back you up just a little bit. I'm not tying a knot. I'm just going to slip them together like this. So it's just a single tie. And then I'll catch my tails like I did at the beginning. So again, you don't work that loop. That's your slip stitch. This loop is your single crochet, or your chain, I mean. It's your chain. So we're going to go into the top of that first stitch right there, and I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1. All right, and I'll just catch these tails. I'll lay them over the top, and I'll just catch them under the stitches. Hi, Horizon Crochet. You're new to me. I'm seeing some new people. So we're going to finish this out with this cornflower Bernay Handy Crafter Cotton, which I still don't know where I got it from, but that's okay. So this row, I'm going to switch back to single crochets to just kind of stabilize this round before I start doing my crazy thing of making this look like a flower. And again, I'm not following a pattern. I've been crocheting long enough. If I go around and I don't like the way it looks, I can just rip it back. So learn some stitches, get brave, and make up your own patterns as you go along. And then somebody will say, can I get the pattern? And I'm like, probably not, because I made it up as I went along and I didn't write anything down. So anyway, I'm going to go back to single crochets. So I'm going to work 2 singles in this first one. Same stitch we slipped in. 2 single crochets. And then I'm going to do, because the last time we did 3, this time we do 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see I'm catching that tail. So this next stitch will work 2 into it. And I'm still increasing with the new color. And then I'll work 4 single crochets over the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll do 2 in this one. And I'll be glad when these tails are all hidden. But I do like to hide the tails as I'm going so I don't have to sew them in later. Makes life so much easier. So 1, 2, 3. Got to pull some more yarn out. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, and then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll look at chat when I get around here. And Janet Nash is here, and Linda, and Horizon Crochet. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. Well, Horizon Crochet, I bet you're a crochet channel. Over here on my channel, I do everything. So you just never know what is, because I get bored easily. I just jump all over the place. I do crochet, I sew, I'm trying to learn to knit. I do art, I do card making, gardening. Yeah. Ask my regulars. I'm all over the place. I did see that the American Cancer Foundation is doing a kind of fundraiser thing in April that I'm thinking of signing up for, to finish stitched up projects, and it can be any stitching, crochet, knitting, sewing, embroidery. I also do slow stitch, embroidery, cross stitch. So I might do that and maybe see if people wanted to, support me by maybe making a donation to the American Cancer Association. But I'm going to learn more about that, and then I'll share more about it. But I wanted to mention it for anybody that was new and had not seen that pop up on Facebook. I'm going to look into it more. All right. So again, this was my slip stitch. This was my chain 1. This is the first stitch, and that's the one I'm going to single crochet in. And I just like the way the single crochet looks. This is the back of the work. You can see the rounds. And then this is the front. And you can see my joins right here. All right. So I did my slip stitch. I'm going to chain 1. And I think I'll do a row of half doubles. So because we did 4 in between, I'm going to do 2 half doubles and then 5. And then I'll do my petals. So let me do a row around with still increasing, because I want it to lay flat. If you stop increasing as you go around, your dishcloth will do a bowl. So like if you were just starting this out and you wanted to make a tiny little, what I call my chocolate bowls, you would stop here and just start working around and around, and it would build sides. When you stop increasing, you start building sides up. Just letting you know. Oh, yes, chunky yarn is fun. I do want to get back into doing some thread embroidery. I came across my book on Irish crochet, and I want to do some. And it uses a ton of thread, and I have a ton of thread, so I'd love to do some Irish crochet. It's basically thread crochet that's dimensional, so like roses and flowers and things like that. So yeah. That's one good thing about having the house tore up. It makes me look back through all of my treasures, and it reignites loves from the past. And I'm just wanting to get back into some of it. All right, a key note also about your increases is if you continue, so that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. When you get to where you're supposed to add a stitch, you'll always end up, when you're doing this steady increase like this, you'll end up doing your increase in the first stitch of the previous row's increase stitches. Does that make sense? So you can see there's the 2 together. I'm going to work 2 together in the first stitch on the previous row's increases. When you learn to recognize that, you can just look at your work and say, okay, that's where the increase needs to be. And you won't get lost as easy. I try to give these hints because not everybody knows how to recognize where they're putting their increases. And like if you're at some kind of event or anything and you just have your crochet with you and you get to talking and you're, looking off and then you forget where you are, you can just look down and identify, what you're supposed to do next, which is easy. It's easy to get lost when you're yammering away. So see, I know I'm supposed to do my increase here and I don't even have to go back and count. I just know that that's where the increase is supposed to be because I know it goes in the first stitch of the previous row's increase. So I hope that made sense. Little tricks like that like a more knowledgeable crocheter, and in my book, the more knowledgeable knitters, because I'm trying to learn to knit. The tips I've learned from like Vicki Brown, Messy Table, and others has really helped me a lot. I'm really intrigued with in knitting, I'm really intrigued with the Scandinavian bind off. It looks so beautiful. And if you're going to learn knitting, it might as well be from somebody in Scandinavia, where they're known for knitting. Dishcloths are a perfect thing to take to an event gathering of knitters and crocheters because you can, even if you mess up, you're still going to have something that looks kind of like a dishcloth. My son and his girlfriend went up to Charlotte, North Carolina last night to go to a concert of a Ukrainian band. And I'm hoping they had a lot of fun. No news is good news as far as them in traffic. The Fridays, going anywhere on a Friday, the traffic increases because everybody's going somewhere. And my mama heart, he's almost 40 and I still worry about him because he's my only kid. Of course, I would worry if I had more kids. I guess I would worry about all of them. And young people don't understand until they have kids of their own what that worry is. I mean, you don't work that hard to bring something into this world and not worry about them. All right, I'm back around and see how it's looking. All right, so let's add some petals. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do my join. All right, I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to do a single crochet right here. All right, then I'm going to skip a stitch and in the next one, I'm going to put 3 double crochets. All right, so I have 3 double crochets. There's a stitch here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip this stitch right here, and I'm going to put a single crochet in the next stitch. I'm going to skip this stitch. I'm going to put 3 double crochets here, which will take into account 1, 2, 3 stitches of the previous row. So that's how, if you want to do a different stitch, or you want to add shells or whatever you're going to do needs to match what's in the bottom row here. So I'm going to put 3 double crochets here. So that's 1, 2, 3 stitches of the previous row is replaced by 1, 2, 3 stitches of the doubles. I hope that makes sense. Oh, that was a learning curve. The knitting needles that are in the round. Vicki and Ruth walked me through how to do that join, because I just couldn't wrap my head around that join that you do. So I skipped one. I'm doing a single. Skip one, do 3 double crochets. Uh-oh, I've picked up the gray somehow. Let's move that out of the way. I had 2 threads in my hand for no reason. So there's the 3 doubles. Skip one, do a single crochet. Then skip one, do 3 doubles. And that's your repeat around. Single crochet, skip one, do 3 doubles, skip one, do a single, and so on. And this is the beginning of our petals. Three. Skip one, do a single. Skip one, do 3. And that's what my head is constantly doing when I'm crocheting. Do you do that? Are you counting in your head even if it's not out loud? You're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then at night you're trying to go to sleep and your brain's still on the crochet pattern and it's going 1, 2, 3, 1. I saw one of those cheap little kits for doing a tiny little cat and it wasn't what is that, Rubles, something. It was a cheaper like dollar store, but I couldn't stand the way the yarn looked in the package. So I just left that at the thrift store and I said, because you can get free patterns for anything and everything. And I also have books on amigurumi. I love to do amigurumi too. I've done, let's see, what's in here? I've done my frog hat. I've done my little pig with the squirrely tail. I've done a little cat. I did a doll. I love to do them. I don't have any little people in my life, so they're kind of just like, they're like my in-house audience. All my creations. The doll sits with Jeff Rabbit that I made. Jeff Rabbit is a sewn 4-foot high or 3-foot high rabbit. He has his own rocking chair now. We found one at the thrift store for like $5. It needed some repair, but Scott repaired it. So Jeff has his own chair now, which is great. I'd love to make a display of Jeff Rabbit and stuff to have just in my background. I could set him up on my cutting table behind me. I keep thinking about a more efficient way to use this space, but I think I've got it pretty perfect in how it's set up. Yeah. Looks like we've got a mostly overcast day here today. And you'll note that this round, I didn't do any increasing. So this is a straight up round. So the stitch count would be the same if I took the time to count the stitches. Skip one, do one, skip one, and do my 3, and I'm back at the beginning. And so I will join with a slip stitch into the first single crochet here. All right, there we go. So there's with petals started. So now we're going to do 5 doubles and then a single crochet in the center double crochet of the previous round's shells. So here I'm going to start with chain 2 and I'm going to do a double crochet into that first single crochet. I'm not counting the chain 2 as a double crochet. I'm going to just count it as my beginning chain, so don't count that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to skip 1 and single crochet in the center double crochet of the previous round, and then do 5 shells in here. And by doing, not 5 shells, 5 double crochets to create a fat shell. And because I'm doing 5, I'm actually increasing as I go around. And that kind of takes into account the fact that I did not increase on the previous round. So my piece will still lay flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this will be my last round. And this will be sort of a smaller dishcloth. I have this thing, I like my dishcloths to be about the same size as my hand for cleaning up. I think that's the perfect size. And they lay on the dry board or over this edge of the sink and dry really quickly at about that size. I don't like huge dishcloths. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And UK folks, this I guess is your treble crochet. And then I do a double crochet in that center one. But for USA, it's 5 doubles and a single crochet in the center of the previous round shell. 5 doubles into your single crochet. And then do a single crochet in that center stitch of the previous round's shell. Put a birthday card in the mailbox for Anne because she sent me one. I'm trying to be better about reciprocating on birthday cards. I swear, though, if postage goes up anymore, it's crazy. We're paying more for less service with no guarantees, and they're not responsible. They used to, own up to their what was it? Their oath of whatever, no matter rain nor snow nor that thing. They don't do that anymore. Oh, you got your mail. Good for you. Like, doggone. Scott was watching this girl lose her mind at a Wendy's, and she was busting the windows out and acting crazy because her order was incorrect. I was like, when did this become normal to act like such a ASS over a misdelivered food item? I mean, it's a food item. Be nice about it and they'll just fix it for you. Holy mackerel. I was like, and this is why I don't want to leave the house, because it's crazy out there. I know she did. We were in Craft and Chat and they called her and said, we're already here. Luckily, she didn't have too far to go and they didn't have to wait too long for her to get there. But I think it took either less time for them to get there or they just were so excited about getting together that they just all arrived early. So Anne had to leave Craft and Chat yesterday. So I'm glad they had a good time together. I've met Deborah Adams in person. She lives not too far from me. She doesn't pop in chat as much, but I know she told me she still watches the videos. So hi, Deborah, if you're out there. Yeah. So if you want to make a flowery dishcloth, this is how I do them. And so this will be today's dishcloth. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm doing a dishcloth for every day or until I run out of crochet cotton, which you guys, I've used most of the cotton that's good for dishcloths. So I might have to switch to another project in cotton to use my cotton up. And I say that because, hi, Josie, the cotton I have left is more of a garment weight and texture. So I do have a pattern I want to make. I need to figure out if I have enough of the yarn to do it. And I'd like to do that top. It's very pretty. It's an advanced pattern though. So, but I've been crocheting a long time. I think I can finally figure it out. If not, guess what? There's YouTube videos to help me. That's the beauty of YouTube. Not sure of what you're doing? Somebody out there knows what they're doing and they can show you how. We're almost done with this dishcloth. This will be part of a set of 3. So I'll do a dishcloth a day for 3 days. And then those 3 dishcloths, I try to use some of the same yarn in all 3 of them so they can become a set. And then I just fold them and tie them together with a bit of the cotton. And I'll show you a little bundle that's, already put together here in a minute. And then they go into my gifting tote, which for all you newbies don't know, I have a big plastic tote that I put handmade items so that, say, if somebody's birthday pops up, I could just grab something out of there, pop it in a gift bag, and I've got a gift. And I don't have to fret about it or anything. I've been between dishcloths and making my little chocolate bowls. Like if it was for somebody's birthday, I would probably get a cellophane bag and put some chocolates, buy some chocolates or some wrapped candy and put them in one of my little chocolate bowls. So maybe I'll discuss what's in my bin if you guys would be interested in that. At Christmas time, I let my husband take a tote of whatever I've made in, and he gives them out to the ladies that he works with, ladies and guys, if they want some. One year I did hats, so everybody got to choose a hat. And then this year, the gentleman that helped Scott get the job at his current employer, because he worked there and he helped Scott, he put in a request for a hat, so I made him a hat because he helped Scott out getting the job. So yeah. So I'm going to skip the last stitch in this last shell. I'm going to skip the beginning chain 2, and I'm going to just slip stitch in my first stitch, and I'll snip this off, and I'll just slip that up, and then I'll get a needle and sew it in. So see, it's about my hand size, and I think it makes a really pretty dishcloth. So let me show you how I sew my ends in. I've got my little drawer of goodies here. I flip my dishcloths over so that the sewing the tail in is on the back of the dishcloth. And then I just go down into the stitches, weaving in and out and around some of the stitches, through some of the stitches, and then just pull the thread through. If you really work your thread into some of the other threads that are on here, like going through the different layers of the yarn and then go through down through here, go one way and then turn and go through that stitch again. I'm actually going through the layers of the yarn. And by doing that, it's less likely to back out. So I went that way, went through the yarn, came back this way, and now I can cut it tight and it shouldn't back out over time. And this will just go in my little jar I have. Put my needle away. So this dishcloth is number 80. And this was number 79. And you see, I've used some of the same yarn. So these will be a set. So this gets folded like this. And then I'll fold this one like this. And then I'll make a third one tomorrow or later today, whenever. And then I'll take just a bit of probably the cornflower blue, and I'll tie them together. So that was today. So hang on just a sec. Let's see here. I'll show those in a minute. I've got to move a couple things. I just want to show you. This is one of the bundles. This is what it looks like. So there's 3 dishcloths, and then I layer them up and I tie them, you know, crisscross, go around the bottom, loop it up, and then tie a bow up here. So that's one, and then here's another set. You see how I carried some of the yarn throughout? That makes them look like they intentionally go together. Here's a patriotic one, and I used some of the cornflower because I didn't have any other. So let me bring you guys up so you can see my tote and how full it's getting. Even with giving away 2 sets, this is my tote. Before I was doing the sets like these, I was doing sets in these bags. This is 2 dishcloths and a scrubby because I was trying to use the scrubby yarn up. And I still have a little scrubby, so I might do a few more sets of these. But I gave 2 of these sets away already. So there was like, there's 23 sets like that. And then I've got, there's 5, 6, 7, 8. This will be set 9. So I'm getting lots of those together. Then I'm going to leave those out because they're not ready to go in the bin. I got to do another one. And then I've been making baskets with my chunky yarns and holding multiple layers together to make them more substantial. So that's what I've done here. This was one I'd made previously. I just went ahead and added it in here because I came across it. This one was fun to make. This one was very scrappy. And when I ran out of one scrap, I'd add the next little scrap, and I just used all that up. I got a bit of the bubbly stuff in there and everything. And then when I got to the end, I still had just a little bit. So I just went ahead and stitched it out into like a snake and then wound it around in here and then sewed it down. So it looks like a little rosette. And then this is one of my favorites. I did this during a craft and chat. And because it's that chunky yarn, it works up fast. And the edging has some cotton fancy yarn. But you could use like fun fur on your edge or whatever. This would be nice if somebody's sick. You could put, you know, ingredients for something. Or just make a snack bowl of healthy snacks or not so healthy snacks. Put them together, and then they could have that to just reach for something. I also have made up card sets for my box. So a little of all of my art and tech and stuff is in here. I do have these pictures. Nobody was interested in these at Scott's work. These were just little collages that I made up to give away. And that's a happy day. That one says unity. Think and wonder, wonder and think. So I might just pull these out and put them in my own house. Vicki had made 2 of these, and she told me I could keep them both or put one in my bin. So I put one of them. They're like neck warmers. So I put that in. I've got a little Christmas banner in here that I put together real quick. A couple pot holders. Mug rugs make great gifts. You could thrift a mug that looks nice and pair it with a mug rug, and then maybe a box of snacks to put with it. I still have the size 3 little boy pajamas. I don't know anybody with a little boy that's a size 3. And then this is a size 3 little girl short set that I made that nobody wanted. So I left those in there. Mug rugs. Pot holders make a great thing to add to your gifting tote. I should make up a list of things that you could make ahead and just have at the ready. It eases your mind when you have things pre-made and ready to go. Now I want to show you. So you can see how full my tub is. And it's a big tub. So you start making stuff and setting it aside, and before you know it, you could host a party and have a gift for everybody. I have this bag here. Let me get you guys so you're not looking at just my bumpy middle section. This bag I keep behind me hanging over there, and it's nothing but the tiny little balls left over from other projects. And I've gone through and I've kind of paired things together. Like the next one of these that I'm going to make is all blues and greens. Let me show you what I've been making. I've been making what I call my tiny chocolate bowls, and my mother-in-law calls them bird's nests because they are the size of the palm of your hand. This one would be perfect for Flo. And this was just made with just little scraps. And again, I'll pair up 2 fat yarns or maybe 2 4-weights and a fancy yarn or whatever. I make up a combination. And then if one of the 2 or 3 runs out, I just grab the next little tiny ball. And that's how I got that. And then it worked in, and it had some of that fleece yarn got added to it where you see the orange flecks. That was from some fleece yarn that I found at the thrift store that I'd never worked with before. And I made myself one of those, it's like a headband, but it goes over your ears. And it's just really nice. But I had just a tiny ball of that, and it just added the perfect colors to that little ball basket. And then this one was just a set of brown. And on the edge, I added one of those yarns that has a lot of halo to it. And it makes it look definitely like a bird's nest. But these are the ones I do like for, somebody that, like a secretary or the girl that checks you out at the doctor's. You could give her a little gift at a holiday or just to brighten her day. Just say, here you go, and have in it just a few little chocolates or candies or whatever. So these are made until I run out of the yarn. That's how big they get. So this one I had a little bit more yarn to play with, and then this one, and then this one. So there's like 3 sizes here. Tiny, medium, and large. So these are fun to make, easy to do, and you're using your scraps. So these actually need to go in the tub. You see all my mess behind me that I moved out of the way. Okay, guys. Well, that's all I was going to share with you. And I guess I'm going to have to go do the dishes now. Clean the kitchen up. I brought my projects I had on the dining room table in here. Let's put the hook back in the little strawberry bag so I'll have it for tomorrow. Put the gray back in here. That big cornflower skein doesn't fit, but I'll just put the bag next to it. All right, guys, thanks for hanging with me for a little bit. And I'm going to go and do what I'm supposed to be doing while Scott's off doing what he's doing. And hopefully he can get that machinist up and going. they called the place and they told him it was going to be $6,000 to replace the circuit board. And Scott's like, no, let me come look. He said, I can diagnose things down to the component level on a circuit board. Don't do that. Don't do $6,000 worth of spending when you don't have to. Young people always want to just swap the board out. They don't want to repair anything. They just swap the board out. That's how they repair things. And we come from an era where you make it do. You make it do as long as you can. You're going to get every bit of money out of it. You're not going to just swap a board for $6,000. So anyway, let's hope Scott is successful and gets that young man up and going and saves him $6,000. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.